Welcome to the Loud Quiet.
Ooh, empty nester. Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think that actually probably is the theme of the empty nest. What are we doing? Let's do this. Let's do this thing. I don't know if I'm recording. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Sans children. Just us. We need a tissue box up here. Follow along on our journey and maybe, we can learn from others.
Yeah. I don't have a clue how to be empty nester.
This is the Loud Quiet Living the Empty Nest.
All right, here we are, episode 12. You can see, for those of y'all that are watching, that we're back on the road again, heading between Tempe and Tucson. Just got to spend a little time with Tanner yesterday. Actually, yesterday we both got to see my mom in Austin and then flew out to Arizona, got to see Tanner, and now we're driving down to to Tucson. Yeah, I am driving, so the brain is more focused on the driving. We were thinking about, one of the things about being an empty nester and enjoying the empty nest life is the memories of the beginnings of your dating days, almost as a way to inspire what you're doing in your current world. And so we thought today was just going to be a chance. We're going to reminisce a little bit about some of the trips that we took, some of the fun things that we did in the beginnings of our...
I wouldn't call it dating. I would say pre-kids.
Pre-kids.
Yeah.
That is actually a better statement, especially as we hear the first story. I guess it starts a little different category. So hopefully y'all will enjoy this ride as we are going to do a little bit of reminiscing today, and it should be some fun tales.
Thinking of this as a parent now, I remember... we met in December of 95. We started just hanging out, having fun. We were introduced by a mutual friend. And
it truly was a friendship, right? This was
friendship. We really just enjoyed hanging out with each other. We had similar interests. We really just had a good time together. And so in August of that year, you were on a project up in
New England,
Boston area. And you're like, oh, hey, why don't you come up to New Hampshire? We can hike and do outdoorsy stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So here I am, 22, still I'm senior in college. And I go and tell my parents, hey, so I'm going to fly to New Hampshire to meet this guy that you hadn't met them yet, I don't think.
I don't think so.
And if you did, it was just maybe a casual interaction.
Yeah.
But,
and again, because we were just friends, right? I'm in the work world. Yeah, you're a senior in college, but you're just about to be in the work world.
Sure. But, so I get on this plane to fly to New Hampshire where, do friends stay at a bed and breakfast together?
Well, in my mind, before this gets cemented as, Rick had something in mind. Rick did not have anything in mind. This was, there weren't hotels where we were. Conrad knew it. Well, I don't even know. But,
sure.
So, bed and breakfast. You get breakfast included. What's wrong with that?
So that was our first. And that, the first night we went to this really nice dinner. We walked down from this bed and breakfast
in the forest. Set the stage.
Really,
it is definitely in a forest, in the hills. This is not. We're walking on. Well, at the time it wasn't dark, but we're walking on what would soon be a dark road.
I think it was dark when we left.
Oh, because yeah. That's right.
No, it was dark.
They gave us flashlights to walk and all that. Yeah, okay.
It was dark, and I don't really even remember much about the place. I just know that was my first introduction to a Kir Royale because I think it was actually on their menu, and you were like, oh, my dad likes those. And so that was that. And then somewhere around the middle of our dinner, it just started pouring. And unlike staying, like we talked about, there weren't really Airbnbs back then. So which is probably how the Airbnb morphed, because the bed and breakfasts were so popular. So our lady from the bed and breakfast came and picked us up, and drove us home, and that night I'm in the bathroom, like putting in all the numbers that you had to put in to call long distance, and called our mutual friend Jennifer. And I was like, okay, I guess we're a couple.
It had been such an unintentionally romantic dinner that I think we just realized that we were friends who really wanted to actually be boyfriend girlfriend. A very natural evolution to a relationship inspired by a trip.
I mean, I so remember like picking out like Jennifer helped me pick out my outfits. Okay, this is what you're going to wear to dinner. This is what you're going to wear hiking. I mean, I looked like an ad out of Abercrombie and Fitch, probably from, with some REI thrown in with the new boots and stuff.
Maybe little J. Crew back then. We went through all the catalogs.
So that was our first trip together, which really our entire relationship has revolved around, we love to travel. And you grew up with a family that traveled and parents that traveled. Mine did some, and I had gotten to take some good trips, to Europe and that kind of thing with my mom, and we did some things, but I really fell in love with traveling and through you.
And that, what you're saying is absolutely right. That really became an iconic element of our relationship.
Yeah, so we really did, like you said, our relationship and we really have been intentional about traveling. Like, the next trip or trips, because we went to New York a couple of times because you were still kind of working up in that area while I was still finishing school. So here I am asking so Jennifer dropped me off at the airport for our first New York trip, and her car was in the shop, so she was driving this purple Geo. I don't even remember which one, but it was hideous and
Nothing
ugly.
Like the Geo.
And she was my bougie friend that, it was just hilarious seeing her drive around this purple Geo. But so she dropped me off at the airport. Well, she took off before I could get my toiletry bag with all my supplies in it. I had my clothes at least, but I didn't have that bag. She took off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no deodorant, shampoo, makeup. So that was one of the first things we had to do when I got to New York.
You know what? I think what that taught at the very beginning is resilience when it comes to travel, because you cannot love travel if you don't have a sense of resilience when it comes to disruption.
Exactly.
So there, a little tease.
And I don't even know, because we had cell phones then, but I guess
maybe you didn't have yours.
No, I'm sure I did. I don't know why, and I probably did try to call her, but by the time she would have gotten back, but I still remember her pulling off and being like, wait. Yeah. So, but I don't, we talked about today, we don't remember a lot of what we did on that trip. I remember we ate well, we walked around the city.
The Rockefeller, I guarantee we did all the tourist checkbox things.
We did, yeah.
And I think that's, while building memories, and a lot of our travels are about building memories, you know what I remember about that is just kind of it being fun. And sometimes it's not even the memory that I have, it's the emotion, or the memory of the emotion that travel so fills. And it's been...
and I think, if we went back and could remember all of our trips, I think we have something from every single one, even with the kids, that we have we still say, and we're like, oh my gosh, that. But I do, and I think it was the second trip to New York. Remember, because you were going back to Boston or wherever you were, and I had to get back to Dallas for class. My flight got canceled. And here I am, this 22-year-old that has traveled, but I don't think I had traveled on my own very much. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm at LaGuardia. What do I do?
Yeah. But luckily, that's when the airlines used to care, and they would put you up in a hotel. But then I had to email my professor and say, or no, there probably wasn't email.
I
I don't know how. Yeah, I guess. I got in touch with her some way saying, so I'm in New York, so I'm not gonna make it back for class. And she laughed and she thought it was hilarious. But anyway, so yeah, so that was a fun little. Again, like you just said, you have to be prepared for anything when you're traveling because you just never know what's going to happen.
I do think that's why maybe the next trip, and if it wasn't the next trip, and listener, fear not, we're not going to tell you every single trip we've taken, but some of the memories are just so solid. This one, we discovered that there are places in Mexico that everything is included when you show up. And what a delight to a 20-something-year-old couple thinking, wait, we can just go sit with our toes in the sand, raise our hand when we want a drink or whether we want a piece of food or whatever that looks like. And so, yeah, went down to Cancun, had a fantastic time down there. And yet, when we think about it, and this is probably true of anybody that's in their 50s, think about what they did in their 20s, this place was probably bottom of the barrel. I specifically can think about the rooms. I think about the food. Yeah, I'm glad that we've upgraded to our all-inclusive. It is, though, we have developed a real enjoyment of the all-inclusive concept at the right places because it is so relaxing to be able to just show up and know that aside from providing tips, you have nothing to do other than just enjoy yourself. And that's been a great
And delight. I know we're not talking about trips with the kids, but the all-inclusive with kids is awesome because if they don't like something they just ate, okay, go get something else.
Throw it away,
You know, if they didn't like their activities for them, our kids are huge fans of the all-inclusive. In fact, last night when we were with Tanner and Rick mentioned to me, hey, I think we need to go to Mexico. And Tanner's like, oh yeah, I could do it. Let's go back to Mexico. We're like, we're talking about us.
Yeah, hang on there, dude.
You weren't invited. So we'll see. But that trip though, you know. So yes, we had already been dating for a while because you know what? We went to a Rangers game the night before we left for Mexico. And I think it was probably April.
Okay. All right.
May, yeah, because I remember that picture.
Is that the iconic picture?
Yes,
all right, well, we're not going to put that on.
No, we won't put that one on, but there is a funny picture where, so that was before.
Oh, well, we got photobombs.
Yeah, that was before photobombs were a thing that you tried to do. So.
A woman was a very successful photobomb.
So yeah, so we had been dating for a while and, you know, yeah, probably almost. I mean, like I said, it was like April or May, so getting close to a year. And your mom booked this trip for us because she was a travel agent. Right. And I remember when we showed up at the desk and they were like, okay, so we have, 2 double beds. And we were like, can we do 1 bed? And so that was just a funny, haha, like.
Well, the mom travel agent may have had a different.
Well, yes, the mom,
agenda.
Just the mom. But yeah, in general, we're married now, so it's fine. Yes. But anyways, so that was a fun trip. I remember the chalkboard, and we were like, let's go down, because we were still in our 20s. Let's go down every drink that they had and try. Yes, so.
Let us enjoy.
Yeah. So that was a fun trip. So.
We've done plenty of beaches, and there's more beaches to talk about. The all-inclusive is nice, and we've enjoyed some luxury. There were some travels, too, that I was able to get you in some more rustic environments. We really did enjoy camping in the early days. Got to go...
We enjoyed camping.
This is the bait and switch part of the story.
I know. I enjoyed certain parts of camping.
And you know what? We take the one that we did out in Caddo Lake. It's beautiful out there. Mm-hmm. The trees are gorgeous. This Caddo Lake, East Texas. Imagine big cypress trees. Well, we'd gotten our stuff for s'mores. We got our chocolate, but we were going to do it the next night. Yeah, we had gotten there, and it was going to be a fire the next night. In the middle of the night, we hear this. Look out the tent, and we see raccoons lifting the cooler up and down, taking stuff out of the cooler. And well, I didn't really know what we were going to do with these raccoons or whatever, so we're flashing the car lights, trying to get them to go away. They finally went away, did their thing, moved on.
Chocolate.
They got the chocolate. I was so ticked. Animals were not our friend that trip.
No.
You enjoyed the canoeing, right?
Mm.
Up
Yeah.
until.
So we're in this canoe, we're going along, and Rick's in the front, I'm in the back. Or
Imagine like a Louisiana swamp vibe.
Yeah.
That's what this is
because,
like.
Caddo Lake
Caddo
is
Lake
out
is
east
very like
Texas.
that. Yeah.
Actually, I don't remember if I was in the front. Well, anyways, so we're going along, and then all of a sudden I hear him, snake, big snake, and so we're like, oh my gosh, back at it. And for those of you that know, I am terrified of snakes. So yes, I was like, done, out, get me out of this lake. I'm out of here.
It was a pretty healthy sized snake too. It was worth backing up.
Yeah, and that's so what was my criteria? So we camped twice, I think, and what was my criteria of the campsite that we?
Oh, I don't recall the specific criteria.
Yes, anytime you wanted to go camping, I said they have to have.
Oh, they have to have a bathroom?
Yes,
yes,
they have to have, because not all of them do.
That's right.
They have to have bathrooms and showers.
I would thought you were talking about your current criteria, which they have to have.
Well, now criteria, there's no criteria now.
The campsite has to be a hotel. Is the current criteria? Yeah, and that was we have certainly enjoyed it. Enchanted Rock was a really delightful place to camp. I think it's just even snake is something we'll still joke about now, or the stupid raccoons we joke about. It's these memories that are planted when we were pre-nesters that are fun to think back on. And as we're building memories now, I don't necessarily want to have snake be the next one, but there'll be some great memories.
Luckily, again, you had a daughter who y'all camped for years up until she
stopped
got
camping.
Out of it. Yeah, but y'all y'all got to go and
we did some neat places.
Y'all did some really fun.
She was tough. There was one that, well, we're not talking about her, but there was a 34-degree morning one time, so she was a good little camper. So I did get to evolve there.
Yeah.
It was nice though, when we did we got married. It was a 2000 and did our honeymoon. That was not going to be a camping honeymoon.
No.
Shout out to the travel agent mom again. She helped us plan the honeymoon in Antigua.
I don't even remember being involved in it. I guess you and her. I mean, I was fine with whatever.
I think your involvement was we want to have a very nice, all-inclusive. We don't want to think. We just want to be, and this fit that.
This was a very luxury, small property. I mean, I can still see.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. We did, but right now.
I don't remember. But, I can still see the bed that was lofted so you could see out, and the shower was huge. I can see all that stuff.
The big pool.
And the ocean was beautiful there. The beach was beautiful.
Yeah.
Some things we didn't want to see on that trip. Lots of European boobs. They're not the kind of boobs you want to see.
Yeah.
Or the color of the very pale, pasty.
Turning probably very bright pink. My memory's not there, but it is. It was a European beach indeed. What's good about the honeymoon? That was something to joke about, but we were certainly focused on each other.
Oh yeah, and the food was excellent, and I mean, that was a great.
Oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about the trip when we got engaged.
Oh.
I didn't even think about that.
I actually was talking about that the other day because someone I know's daughter just got engaged.
So we set this up. Well, I guess it's not we set this up, but I think Clancy knew what was going on. You were in Baltimore at the time working as a flight attendant. I was in New Hampshire again, actually, maybe the same project we're talking about. And I set it up to where Clancy would fly from Baltimore to Miami. I was going to fly to Miami and meet her there. Where did you find out where we were going? It wasn't until Miami, was it? This is in the day of paper tickets, so I was able to kind of mask where you were going. Either way, it was a surprise what we were doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember when I found out it was going to be where we were going, but I do, and I slept through my alarm.
Yes.
And where we lived in Baltimore, we didn't have cars. You had to take this train into the airport, which was like just the next stop. But you had to walk down this huge hill with your luggage And I woke up. So, I mean, I woke up and I started flipping out because I was going to be late. This was before Uber. This was before any of that. Thank goodness. By some way, well, probably because I just probably woke up and threw on some clothes.
Right.
And made it. But yeah, I don't know if when I got to Miami, but it was the nicest trip. Like, you put me in first class. I mean, it was very,
wherever the surprise was revealed, it was,
Yes.
oh my gosh, I'm doing first class to Costa Rica. We stayed at La Finca Rosa Blanca, which is a beautiful property just outside of San Jose. It is on a coffee plantation.
We rode horses through the coffee plantation.
A little chilly in the pool.
Yeah.
Had a beautiful meal that night, and then had the opportunity to propose to you that night on that trip.
And I loved that room because it was all glass.
Yeah,
that
360 degree room up in the top. And it, I hadn't even really thought about it until kind of looking back, but of course we would get engaged on a trip. That's what travel is our travel's our jam.
Well, and it's so funny because in my class the other day, while I'm teaching and we all talk, I was talking about, because one of our friends, her daughter just got engaged, and it's like, yeah, I'm so glad that they just did it simple. And I said, because now with all this staging and all this stuff, and then I was like, oh wait, Rick kind of did that, but we did not have a professional photographer there to video it or record it, or we didn't do any of that. But yes, you had to have the ring. Didn't you have it shipped to you? It was in some.
I had it secured in a place that you would not have it. No, I certainly didn't have it shipped, but I had it.
You had it, yeah.
Oh, wait, no. I had it shipped to me in New Hampshire. Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, gosh.
And you had them put it in the hotel safe.
That's right.
Because that was before probably you had safes in your room.
Yeah, so
yeah,
But no, we did not post any pictures about it. I think we have one picture that was taken in front of the, I think we did the little, put the timer on and the flowers were in the back.
We have that picture, and that's one of my favorite pictures. I love that picture.
And it is travel. So yeah, I guess so honeymoon, getting engaged, we've enjoyed our travel.
Yeah, and I mean, for our first year anniversary, and this is the one that someone afterwards was like, man, you set the bar way too high.
Hey, if there's any young guys listening to this, pay attention and don't do what I did. Do not set the bar here.
You had already taken me to Costa Rica. And see, this is your fault, because you put me in first class. And you put me in first class a lot, even when I was flying. But because back then it was a lot easier with upgrades and all that kind of stuff. But so you're the one who spoiled me. So don't. When we fly anywhere, if it's a long trip, I'm like, yeah, I need the live bed. And
you can lie flat on the floor in economy. It's fine. I did it to Hong Kong one time.
So for our first anniversary, which is, we were back living in Dallas, and actually I guess we were about to move to Houston.
Yeah,
that was that timing, because I came back to the house and started packing everything up.
Yeah.
We went to Hawaii for probably almost a week.
It was a week, because we were both in Maui and Kauai.
And we also did Oahu.
Oahu on the way out. That's right. We as we changed planes, if you will, had an 8-hour layover or whatever.
And I will say that's where my job came in to help us, because with all the code sharing, we got to fly for free between the islands. So that was super nice.
Really beautiful properties that we stayed at. I think Maui was less of a nice of a property, but it was such a neat place. Lahaina, which the tragedy in Lahaina with the fires of this year, we have that memory of that town, of what it was, and it was so neat. The dinners were so great. Driving around Maui was so beautiful. We did see the Four Seasons, kind of got to wave to it.
We got offered Maui Wowie when we were driving.
Around. We did not partake, listeners, and that is a true sentence, but it was very crazy to come around this corner, this big grinning dude. Maui, Maui!
Yeah. And then in Kauai, we, which is a totally different island,
very natural.
I know it's a different island, but yes, totally. That just sounded dumb. Totally different landscape, feel. The beach is totally different. You can't really get down, but yeah,
was it a Hilton
Hyatt?
or a
I
Hyatt?
think it was the Hyatt.
It was
I don't
something
know. It was
really nice.
And we had dinner out on the water in one of those private little bungalow things. So nice. And we did that, I think, on that was our anniversary dinner.
That was, imagine that iconic, it is the bungalow. It's the one table setting out there, so you have to walk out on kind of a small short boardwalk to get there. There's a restaurant that has other overwater ones, but this one is the iconic one that probably makes up their marketing material as well. But it was a great place to celebrate our first anniversary that night. Enjoying that.
And I'm gonna have to go back and find, because these pictures are not digital.
Oh yeah.
Because
that's also that's where I got that heat rash.
Oh my gosh!
So we may not have. I looked like a tiny. I looked like I'd been microneedled across my entire bottle.
Yeah, you had like a reaction to the
sun.
That's right, the sun.
All things.
And then we finally found something at whatever that big store is there. Yeah, that helped. But I forgot about that.
Yeah, so there may not be some photos because I probably look like a pincushion.
There's photos. Yeah, we have photos, but because I can see them in my head.
Yeah.
I just have to figure out where they are.
It was a beautiful place.
Yeah, that one was really. And we haven't been back. We need to go back, and we need to. The kids haven't. That's one place that a lot of people go to, and we just haven't. We tended to do.
Well, we spent so much time going international. Like we really wanted to take them international.
Yeah.
And Hawaii is such a wonderful place. And part of it too is Hawaii is beautiful. We love it. Kauai has its Grand Canyon that was amazing to see. Sometimes we get in that mode of but there's a Mexican beach with an all-inclusive 2 hours away, as opposed to having to fly an overnight flight. I know that slowed us from going there.
And I do remember that because coming back, we flew back to Dallas. I got off the plane, and you kept on to Houston, and that's when I came back and packed up the house, and we were moving to Houston. But
way to end your 1 year anniversary. All right, see ya.
So that was May, and what happened on that trip?
I was wondering if we were going to bring this up. Yes, we are.
That was when we'd been married a year. We hadn't really decided when we wanted to have kids. We knew we wanted kids, but we hadn't really decided. And that was when I told Rick, I think I'm ready to start trying. And I think he was a little like, okay, wait, what? We're about to move. We've only been married a year, even though
we're in Hawaii. Yeah. Can we just enjoy the sunset?
This was the last night. I think it's not like but I do remember that being a discussion because it was not. And then I think by the end of the discussion, you were on board. I think probably because in our minds, we didn't think that it would happen. And then barely 3 months later, I was pregnant with Tanner.
Yeah.
So
it was sort of hey, let's start trying and see that.
It happened a lot. It happened a lot faster than we thought. So
that's right.
So that trip, is when. What did you say? We started adding to our nest.
I thought we built the nest, right? So like,
we had the thoughts of building the nest in that trip, but so
and when we were talking about, hey, which trips we had to talk about in that one, anything about this? Now, of course, we would decide to have kids on a trip. Like it almost is, and I do like. We're recording this now. Sometimes we're too tired on the road trips back and forth. There's times that we have some of our best discussions when we're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about connecting as a couple then, connecting as a couple now when you get out of your routine. I'm not thinking about my job. I'm not even thinking about like miso or whatever, right? It's just because almost like an artist going to somewhere to be inspired. Trips are our relationship inspiration.
Well, and I think we have also used, being in Arizona right now, there was a time in our marriage that we took a trip to Arizona because we were in crisis and we needed to get some things figured out, which makes this an even more special place to us. And when we were here the last time, we actually went back to the original Grimaldi's, which is where we fell in love with Grimaldi's that we ate at on that trip.
Yeah.
And so I do think sometimes you do have to get out of, like you said, the routine, the environment of where you are to get some things figured out. And it's not always, that was probably the only, I'm not going to call it a negative trip, but that was we need to get away right now and figure some stuff out.
And that was,
and we did.
And it was, it was, thank goodness we had miles and points and that sort of stuff and
parents to keep the kids because they were little. I mean, this was a long time ago, so.
And it was, there's no way to know in an alternate universe, is that what saved a marriage? It wasn't like we were separated or anything like that. Yeah. But we had some real issues that had to be solved for, and they're issues that I won't call them easy, but they were by being able to spend time together and work through them. Travel enabled us to do that. Now, as an aside, let's go back to that. But as an aside, there are also plenty of fights that have been generated by travel because of the stress of travel.
Oh, well, yeah.
So it has definitely both enhanced our marriage and then caused some spicy ghost pepper moments as well.
For sure.
Oh man, it is fun to think about all those trips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, that's something that's so important to us, and it's not important to everyone. Yeah. But that is a core, I want to call it a value, but a core element of our relationship from the beginning that we have carried into our marriage, our children's lives. They love to travel as well. And so, I pray that they continue that with their families. Yep. So, yeah.
Well, what a fun ride.
Yeah, that was fun.
That
took up a good chunk of time.
Still got an hour till Tempe, or Tucson, but we promise, folks, we're not going to make you ride with us this last hour. Oh man, well, fun. Enjoyed that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was this was episode 12.
All right.
Yeah, I know.
Got our dozen in hand.
We're still, let's see. We're still going, and we'll see what. And again, you guys have topics, or you know someone who you think might be a good guest for our podcast, please let us know.
Tell us about your trip.
You can reach out to us. Yeah, we'd like to hear where other people travel. And I think after this one airs, we'll have a question that everyone should be able to answer, and I'm sure everyone will have an opinion about. So stay tuned for that. But so yeah, this has been The Loud Quiet, Living the Empty Nest.